Good morning and welcome. I'm Linda Patton and I am a leadership expert. And I'd like to spend just a few minutes with you today to talk about what is leadership? What do we really mean when we talk about leadership and what are leadership leaders like? Well, great leaders need to have some really solid social intelligence. They also to have a drive for change and a vision that allows them to set their sights on things that truly need attention. I'm sure that you can think of several leaders in your life who represent those three things. I know I can. And I have a series of leaders whose quotes I find very enlightening and they mean a whole lot to me. So let's start with Warren Bennis. He was a pioneer in the field of leadership studies. And he thinks that leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. So you can tell that one of the key things that you as a leader need to have is a vision. Where are you going? Where do you want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years, at the end of your career? What do you want to have accomplished? What do you want your team to have accomplished? Where do you want them to be as well? And a really great leader also looks at what's the vision of my team? Where do the individuals on my team want to go? What do they want to accomplish? And how can I help them make that happen? Because when you do that, you truly inspire the people on your team to work harder, to be more innovative, and to be more creative. When they think all you want them to do is the status quo, like a manager would, then you're never going to get them to think beyond, to shoot for the stars, and that kind of thing. Another favorite of mine is founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, who says, as we look ahead into the next century, he was talking in the 1900s, leaders will be those who empower others. Again, to me, a key skill of leaders is the ability to empower the people on their team, give them the responsibility and the authority to be able to move forward with their projects, to be able to take a dream that they might have and actually make it come into reality. That is what truly sets leaders apart. Gail Sheehy, who is an American social critic, notes the secret of a leader lies in the tests he has faced over the entire course of his life and the habit of action he develops in meeting those tests. So leaders have been tested. They've been tested by naysayers. They've been tested by the world at large. They've been tested by little things that happen as they're trying to put together their vision and make it happen. And it's the action that you take. It's your ability to pivot. It's your ability to be resilient and to be responsive to how the world changes and how the environment around your projects change in such a way that you can still make them absolutely stellar. Leadership speaker and author and a dear friend John Maxwell explains that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And in addition, he says, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And I think one of my favorite pictures of General MacArthur was in a World War I movie. It was actually a two-parter. They were looking at leaders in World War I and how what they experienced there actually translated to how they led in World War II. It was very, very fascinating. And MacArthur and also Patton, they were on the same field together, are on this field and their troops are behind them. And you can see him going, come on, let's go. We're going to take that hill. And he was out in front. He was leading his men. And they knew exactly where they were going. They knew exactly what needed to happen. And they were eager to follow him into that battle. And like I said, next to him was General Patton, and he was in this wonderful sort of makeshift tank. It was before they actually created the mechanized tanks that we had in World War II and subsequently. And he's in there and he's standing on the top and he's doing the same thing. Come on, let's go. This is where we're going. And that's the kind of exuberance that a leader needs to show. You can't stand in the background and say, okay, you go take that hill. I'm going to wait back here. It's safer. And that way I can set the next goal. No, you need to be in the front lines. You need to be on the battleground and working with your team through all of the situations that could possibly happen to them. If you don't, they really wonder, should I be following this person? Social scientist Margaret Wheatley says that leadership is a series of behaviors rather than a role for heroes. And I think that's very interesting, since I just mentioned a couple of heroes out of the world wars, Patton and MacArthur, and yet they had behaviors that they did to win battles, to win the war, to bring their troops with them, and to get them excited about where they were going, what they were going to do, and how they were going to win this war. So yes, they were heroes, but the actions were what defined them, not the role that they could have played. Management consultant Peter Drucker, another favorite of mine, zeroed in on a very important element of leadership when he said, management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. Management is about what comes down from above to you, and your job as a manager is to manage, to make them happen. Your job is not to set the vision. It is not to set how things are going to happen, where we're going to go, how we're going to get there. It's doing what they tell you to do, and you pass it down to the people that report to you. Very different roles. World War II general and United States President Dwight D. Eisenhower once said that leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something that you want done because he wants to do it. That's a very interesting concept, is that you are so inspiring, and it's very clear that you have a vision. You know where you're going, and you can define that. You can create it. You can have people actually step into it because you're so passionate about it. And because of that, they're willing to do and to go wherever it is that you need them to in order to make that happen. I think also too is that leaders know what their followers' visions are as well. It's just as important to ask the people who follow you, what do you want to see? What's your vision for the future? Where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years, 10 years, at the end of your career? How can I assist you in making that happen? And I think today there's not a lot of that, not as much. I know that millennials say, about 63%, if I remember correctly, that their leadership capabilities are not being utilized. They're also not being groomed for other positions. I know when I was in corporate, I had a succession plan. I knew what my next jobs were and where I would go and how I would move up in the organization. So I knew what leaders I needed to look at for examples. I knew who I needed to also groom with, ask questions with, mentor with, to make sure that I was getting everything that I needed to be able to move up into that position. And in some respects, it was very safe because I'm the type of person who likes to go step by step by step by step by step. And I'm finding that with corporations today, the mentor role has disappeared. I don't know where it's gone, but it doesn't seem to be as vital as it was. People in the senior roles are not looking down at the up and comers and saying, hey, I want to mentor you. Come with me. Let's do this together. And the mentees don't know who to ask. It's like, well, who do I go to and who would be the perfect person to do this? And without having that capability, the whole thing falls apart. I know that many of the younger people that I speak to, they say, I don't know where my next move is. I don't know what's possible in this organization. I don't know what I might be able to do and what my career path would be. And that to me is a tragedy. Here are some bright and excited individuals who really want to provide something to the organization. They don't know how. They don't know where. And if they get furloughed, like many of them did during COVID, they have no idea where to look for another job. Do I just look for something that I've already done? How do I continue to grow? Women especially are having a challenge with stepping into that mentor role, partly because they were mentored by men. Not that that's a bad thing, but they aren't comfortable with how they were mentored and the type of command style that the men who mentored them exhibited. They want to use more of the feminine side, more of the influence, the creativity, the collaboration, and the influence to be able to mentor these individuals. And yet they're uncomfortable. They don't necessarily know how. So in the long run, we need to educate both sides. We need to educate the mentors who are coming up in the ranks, and we need to educate the mentees in what to look for in the perfect mentor for where they want to go next. So I say to you, leadership is a dance between the masculine command and the feminine influence. So it's between that telling style of the masculine and the just curious asking style of the feminine. And when you join those two together, if you watch Dancing with the Stars on Monday, you saw Derek Hough do an amazing paso doble. And not only was it powerful and aggressive, but there was also the grace of the woman that he was dancing with. Had either one of them not been there, the dance would not have been as powerful. But together, they made magic. So I challenge you today to make magic, to step into that confluential leadership and bring together the masculine and the feminine and truly define your leadership in those terms. Thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday.